Hey, what's up, y'all? Back with another video, making sure I get this out of the way because there are some counterfeits showing up, and I want to make sure that you have all of the little details that you need to kind of make sure your sneakers are right on point. And we're going to start, obviously, let's get them out so you can see them. What to me has been the shoe of the year for Nike basketball is the PG6. So I just did a report, right? And in that report, I explained, as a matter of fact, while I got it available and open, QC stamp, so you guys can check against yours. And these are just details that I have to check for each individual shoe. They're not going to be the same on every shoe. So yours isn't exactly like mine. Don't worry about it. You're okay. But the QC stamp, the date, 07/25/22/10. And instead of a sticker, they have a small QC stamp for basically the QC check. They do two different QC checks. They'll have a date one, and then usually there's a sticker, but this one is a stamp, and it's F/19. So 07/25/22 is our date. The reason I check that, and it's the first thing I check, and I know I'm dumping like right into this discussion, pull the paper out, and the paper is just brown tissue paper, kind of recycled. I'm pulling this over to the side. On your size label, the way I always walk into an authentication when someone brings a pair of sneakers into the shop and they're like, hey, I want to get rid of these, the way I walk into it is I go directly to the box to see if there's a stamp. Now, in some Jordan boxes, you don't get a stamp at all. Some Nike boxes, LeBron's in particular, you very rarely have a stamp. And it's kind of crazy that they don't do the same QC as far as Jordans go. But on most Nike shoes, when you have a Nike signature basketball, you're going to have a stamp inside of the box, except for the LeBrons. Now, inside of the label, on the label for the shoe, which is on the medial side of the shoe, you get small code V01. And then the dates of production, which is why I look at the QC stamp, the dates of production here are 04/27/22, 07/08/22, 07/08/22, made in Vietnam. Now, I can also check my UPC code and the last three, 273, on my label here. The UPC code underneath is 12 digits. The last two are kind of proprietary numbers for Nike, and that's a 16 at the end. But I do have my 273, and I'm only looking at the last three numbers on here because I don't like giving away the entire UPC anymore, because these are the Paul George 6s. And while resale on them is not crazy now, in about a year, when all of these shoes are not circulating in the market anymore, the price is going to start going up, and that's just kind of the way it works. Now, what are we getting into on the PG6? I need to look at the tag too. So I did my check. I said what, 7/22, 7/08/22, and I have what? 07/25. That's less than 2 weeks. That's really 2 weeks exactly. I'm good. As long as I'm within 4 weeks. Now, you have a longer gap on a lot of the shoes that were in the COVID cycle, and you have some shoes that have stamps and the dates, and they'll be over a month and a half outside of it. That doesn't mean that they're fake, so don't think that, all right? Don't think that. But to jump into the shoe a little bit more, we look at the label, because what we want to look for under our label is the chip. And we can see our chip. We can see the shape of the chip. I'm not tearing this because these are already sold, so I'm not going to pull the label down, but I can see the shape of the chip underneath. Now, if you were buying these from someone and you wanted to double check and authenticate, and you're paying a bunch of money for it, if it has an RFID logo on the box, man, pull the tag down. Don't pay money for something where you could potentially get got, like House of Kick says. You can get got by someone. Pull that label down. Make sure that thing has a chip underneath. All right, so the name of the shoe is the PG6. The color is Opti Yellow Metallic Silver. Style code is DR8959-700. Now, we want to get and do a close-up of this because there are a ton of details on the shoe that make the Wutha. And Nike and their concepts for Wutha is to take all of the different models or the history of the shoe and embed it in one shoe for that signature release for that year. In the PG6, it has elements of sneakers throughout the years for Paul George. The toe box is from the NASA. So this silver toe box, I don't think it's reflective, but It's from the NASA. So the NASA version of the PG, I think they had a PG4 NASA, and they had 3 different colors, but that silver and this pop of orange, bright orange, definitely NASA related. This is the painted swoosh, this material that's on the side here. When you look at the right shoe, lateral side, that's the painted swoosh. On the medial side, and on the medial side of this shoe, this is also NASA, or it might be Hot Wheels. I gotta double check that, I'm not sure. I'm gonna be putting pictures in this after I edit it so you can see the different shoes and the different styles. But this kind of print, this is from the Black History Month collection. It wasn't black and white on the Black History Month though. So don't walk into it thinking that it was black and white. It was burgundy, or it was kind of brown and white. Completely different color, but the same shapes are in the Black History Month PG. So that's where that came from. The tongue, and once I get close up, you'll see it on the right shoe, the tongue, and the right in this shoe as well. But you have your hot pepper and your Paulette signature, but that is from the Paulette signature model, which is this mom. All right, the heel tab here, one of my favorite things to look for on a Paul George, and they did it a few years back, but they did a Mamba Mentality pack with the Kyrie and the Paul George, and the Mamba Mentality pack featured chess pieces, strategy on the side. So it's here on the left shoe at the heel on the quarter panel, and then the heel where you have your cushion here, that is Mamba Mentality print that's on the back of that. I'm gonna do a close-up. I know somebody's like, yo, do the close-up so we can see it. Stop running your mouth. The camo PlayStation, this blueprint, and I'm going to, like I said, move it up so you can see it up close and personal. The Taurus PG2 is in the constellation that's on the eyelets, and that's always been kind of a theme on the PGs. I may be missing a few things, but you have this paralyzed outsole on the left shoe, and you have a translucent outsole on the right shoe, and then you have the speckles with the painted swoosh. You have the camo, you have this reptile that's on the medial side of the right shoe. And like I said, there's a lot. It's also on the left side, and you do have the PlayStation that's in blue. So anywhere where you see this big, bold kind of royal blue, that is the PlayStation. And then you have the Mamba Mentality. And once again, you have the painted swoosh back here at the back and here on the side. So those are the details. Let's get to the close-up so you can see it and make sure everything that you're looking at it is right on point. Close-up. All right, you guys. So the PG6, what the? Anytime Nike does a what the series, we get all of these different styles within the shoe, but it's extremely important for me to give you a look at it. This is the left shoe, right? Here we have Mamba Mentality, painted swoosh, reptile, Taurus, PlayStation, NASA. So, and I have my whole arm covering that up. That was terrible. But here's the NASA. You got the paralyzed outsole, and I'm not sure where that's from. I think it may be from an early Paulette. But the tongue itself, I'm bringing this down on the left shoe. The tongue itself, on the left shoe, you don't see the signature on the back, but it is the hot peppers. Hot sauce and hot peppers. I think it's the hot peppers. So when you pull that down, you can see the peppers on the tongue. And that's one of the signature models from PG, one of the different colorways. Now, here you have your camo, Black History Month, reptile again, Taurus, Black History Month, NASA. And on this one, you can see clearly that it's the Paulette, because I'm going to move this down real quick. The signature is on the back of the tongue. So there goes your Paulette right underneath the 6, right? On the heel is that Mamba Mentality, and you have that Mamba Mentality showing up at the heel counter, right before you get to the heel counter of the shoe here. Painted swoosh on the back. And someone can let me know if I'm wrong on these. I'm pretty positive I'm right. The NASA with the silver tip. Same thing with this kind of ballistic type mesh that's on the side. And really, that's your close-up. And I know somebody's like, how you know that's PlayStation? Let's see if you can see those symbols. And you can see the PlayStation logos inside of this. And remember the PlayStation on the Paul George? At one point, it used to light up. Now they don't do that much with the Paul George anymore. I don't know why they stopped. But that was just a really cool feature on the Paul George when they made it to PlayStation. Then you could push the tongue button and it lit up. It was pretty dope. But it would die while it sat in the store if people weren't buying it fast. And they ended up going into clearance, and I was able to get a ton of them. And you see the PlayStation here at the back again. So that is it. Let's wrap that up. And let me know what you guys think about this. I actually like it. The Paul George is by far the best-selling Nike basketball signature shoe right now, for me at least. Now, I know some other people may have better selling models, but it's a great shoe, and it sells pretty doggone well. A lot of people are rocking it. If you looked at like Last Chance U, a lot of the players on there were rocking the Paul George, and rightfully so. The React cushion, one of the best cushioning systems that Nike has come up with. It's a great foam. It's a great foam. That's it. Let's wrap it up and see you guys on the next one. PG6, what the? Yeah, all right. Peace, y'all.